What's going on, guys? Divik here, back with another video, and we are talking Ark, Scorched Earth, and the TLCs that could take place with, well, these creatures specifically. Now, I did decide to separate this out, mostly due to the fact that, like I said in the first part, there is a lot to say about each individual creature, and there's a lot of things that you could really do with them, and each of my decisions will take a bit of an explainer. So, because they were going to take a bit of an explainer, I decided to put a little bit more production into this video, so you're going to actually be able to see the creature that I'm talking about. You know, the Poison Wyvern, the Lightning Wyvern, the Fire Wyvern, and the other two choices that I have. Yes, I did choose each of the three Wyverns, and they are, in a technical sense, looped together, because they're all Wyverns. And, you know, the Ice Wyvern is exempt from this, as I said in part 1, because that is a Ragnarok brought creature, and so therefore it doesn't necessarily count. I'm only counting creatures that came with Scorched Earth, aka also why you're seeing the trailer in front of you. But yeah, that's pretty much all the opener things, and anything that would need an explanation right here at the start. I do encourage you to watch this entire video to its completion, so that way you get all the information. And a lot of you guys aren't actually subscribed to the channel, about 75% of you. So if you're new, do subscribe, hit the bell so that way you're notified, and yeah, let's just jump right into this thing. Now, first and foremost, we have the Wyverns. Now, I think this first little tidbit, I'm going to be talking about all three. So technically there's two clips with the Lightning Wyvern, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Now, here's the thing. I think all three of the Wyverns should be updated together. Now, what those things entail is, well, it's quite simply, I think a model update would be really nice, putting it on par with let's say the Rex, the Spino, and all the other creatures that have gotten a TLC, and if anything else, just an updated look, because right now the Wyverns, as I've said a million times before, as we've all stated, is that they all look relatively the same with the exception of color and the heads and their, like, fins and stuff. Like the wing membranes, if you will. So further differentiation between all three would be very, very good, I think. Um, and just different, like detailed scales. Maybe like you can see like their element like bleeding through like the cracks in the scales, like something like that could be really, really good. And I have ideas for each individual wyvern, with the exception of the ice wyvern, because again, that's something totally different. Now, and another thing, aside from the detail scales, a model update, something that would separate them out and make them more distinct from one another, is also the tech saddle. Now there is a Wyvern tech saddle in the dev kit, and it's been sat there for literally ages. I don't know if it's ever going to actually come into the game or what the plans are for that, but that has been sat there for a long, long time, and nothing has ever come of it. I think with Genesis Part 2, it is, and with this being the culmination of everything that has happened in the story of Ark, I think now would be a more appropriate time than ever to reintroduce, wyverns into the fold. Maybe there's there's a biome where it's nothing but wyverns or something, and we're going into Genesis 2 theories here, but maybe there's an area where there's specifically wyverns, and then there is a mission you have to do, and then you get the wyvern tech saddle by completing the mission. And, maybe that's how you get the Wyvern tech saddle, or maybe, I don't know, just let's put the tech saddle in the... Okay, sorry about the cut there. I had to go take a quick pause there and drink some water. But yeah, scale update, give us the tech saddle, detailed scales with the elements cracked in between, something like that. That would be really, really good. And, yeah, as far as all three of the Wyvern types, that's really all I got for them. I think all this stuff would be really, really good. And yeah, so now that the initial all three of the wyverns roped together part is finished, let's get a little bit more deeper in and decide or for what each wyvern would get as far as abilities are concerned, you know, separately. You know, the scale update and everything, you know, elemental cracks and all that would be all of them. Now let's talk about each wyvern individually. I have several ideas for each of them. Well, some will take more of an explainer than others, but, you know, let's get right into it. Okay, up first is my favorite of the original three wyverns, the lightning wyvern. Now, I have a couple of ideas for this guy. First and foremost, an EMP ability that knocks out power to bases and stuns dinos. Now, y'all know how when the phoenix spawns in, it has that little circly do or whatever, you know, and then like it splays out its its wing, and then you see it. I think that would be really cool if you could apply that somehow to a lightning wyvern. Maybe it, like does like some pinwheel spin type of maneuver in the air. I'll put that little bit of the phoenix the phoenix in the actuals on the screen there, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And this is all stamina based, so the longer you hold it, the more power and range that is knocked into it. So when you get fully charged, or you know, for maybe like if you charge it for like 10 seconds or something to that effect, you get a very strong EMP that will disable turret towers, and you know, also knock out any creatures like, you know, Volanosaurs or anything that are like in turret mode or whatever. And that stun knocks out power for maybe like 5 seconds, and then creatures for 10. You know, something like that. I think that would be really, really cool because, you know, the lightning wyvern, what does it really do? It shoots lightning, and it's commonly blue. You know, there's nothing really distinct, there's nothing unique about each wyvern, which is why I have these more detailed looks. And I think that would be really cool. Now, maybe all of this is based on stamina, and then there's a massive cooldown for the EMP ability. And also, even like when a lightning wyvern is, you know, flying around like you're seeing right now on screen, every now and then there'll be like this electric crackle or something. And also, as far as if you're on a lightning wyvern yourself, obviously with elemental protection, you, the rider, and you, the lightning wyvern, would be protected. You know, obviously you can't EMP a lightning wyvern because it is in itself an EMP. So why would you? An EMP can't EMP itself. You know, electromagnetic pulse. By the way, if you don't know what an EMP is, you know that would be kind of silly, and it falls under the same elemental protection that it already had in the first place. So I think that's the only real idea I had for the lightning wyvern. There's nothing really else I could come up with for this creature, because, you know, again, the point of this is to further make these creatures distinct from one another, and giving this thing an EMP would be really, really cool. But on to now the next wyvern. Alright, up next is the Fire Wyvern, you know, the first wyvern you are exposed to in the Scorched Earth trailer. And this guy, I think, and actually, you know what? I should have put this in a section with all of these, all the wyverns. But I think it would be more interesting if this was like distinct to the fire wyvern itself. But a speed boost of some kind. Now you know how like the lightning wyvern, the griffin, or the snow owl, they all have that. If you fly straight down, you're able to like get a speed boost. I think the fire wyvern should have that. And as you freefall, so if you're high in the air and you freefall or fly straight down with the fire wyvern while sprinting, obviously, you generate a massive amount of heat like a fireball, like a massive flying fireball, right? So the longer the fall, the more damage is gained, and you set off a big explosion of fire upon landing. So it's like a bomb falling out of the sky, essentially. And I think that would be really cool. And also, upon landing, there is also the fire damage. Now, maybe there's the longer the charge or the longer the fall, the more range is gained. Now, I would imagine that this this skyfall ability, that's what I'm going to call it, only has a limited range, even if you were to go from the top of the Visqueen and go straight down. Like, you can only go so far with it, and maybe it's, I would say as far back as maybe um, as far as the footage is concerned, maybe as far back as, say, the other side of the what's it, the cove there. Maybe that's the range if you're like standing right there. It's a big AoE, sure, but that's, you're also talking about the top of the Visqueen and coming straight down. So maybe if it's like a little one, like, boom, and then it gets bigger as you go along. I think that would be really, really good. And obviously, this protection, also elemental protection, like I said before, the Lightning Wyvern. Obviously, you can't firebomb a Fire Wyvern because it in and of itself is a firebomb. So, obviously, a firebomb wouldn't be able to affect another firebomb because that would just cancel out. And maybe like, I don't know, you gain, like, you lose stamina, just lose stamina. And in fact, all these abilities would be stamina based anyway. Yeah. So on to now, I would say, the final of the Scorched Earth Wyverns. Okay, last but certainly not least is the Poison Wyvern. Now, not many people actually utilize this guy, despite the fact that this thing has a lot of torp damage if you manage to actually hit a spitball. Now, speaking of that spitball, I think you should actually be able to specifically target that thing. Like, you get the little, I don't know what you call it, the little target thing. I forget what the word is for that guy, but a little deal you should be able to aim and, like, point that thing. I think that would be really, really cool. And on top of, now I think an alt fire would be really, really good. Like maybe like some kind of L1 ability, like for each of the three wyverns. More specifically the poison wyvern here. I think like how the Velonosaur, when you hit L1, at least on the console, and like you go into that mode, I think one thing that would be cool is if like you go into that mode and it aims, so like your wyvern will like open its wings, the poison wyvern will open its wings out, right? And kind of just stay there for so you can kind of hover for a second, and then you get the little target thing, and then you are able to aim accurately the poison ball. I think that would be really, really cool, and I think a lot of people would actually really, really enjoy that. And as well as if you right click while sprinting, so this is a lot like the Tropio, there is a fire type mist or breath attack that comes out when you right click. Or, so while you're sprinting, you right click and then you get like a poisonous fire damage that does a poisonous fire type of thing that does less damage but more torp war. So like the poison ball does a stupid amount of damage if you get a direct shot, but it's not much as far as knocking out a creature. Now, if you wanted to use a poison wyvern to knock something out, you would come in charging with the sprint and then just boom, You would then take out the creature, or at least knock it out, or do a huge amount of torpo. So this would be very, very helpful when taming like a Giga or something, or like a very large creature that normally it would take like over 150 darts. So just come in with the poison wyvern, poison flame, bam, and maybe like and all of this, obviously, like the others, is based on stamina. So if you have a high amount of stamina, then you can just do it more, and plus you're already sprinting, so that's even more stamina taken. So stam mutations on a poison wyvern, since you can do that now, would be really, really good. And yeah, that's all the wyverns. Now we're gonna get into some more of the other creatures in the game. So this is all I really got for the wyverns. If you guys have any other ideas based on these, do let me know in the comment section. But now, without further ado, let's go on to the two creatures that I have selected for Scorched Earth. Okay, up first with the normal Scorched Earth creatures, we have the Thorny Dragon. Now this thing, as far as just wyverns aside, this is probably my favorite creature of Scorched Earth. The face is really nice. Honestly, the model looks pretty good. So honestly, I don't really. I suppose you could update it. Get the scales a little bit more detailing, or something like that. I think that would be really, really cool. Maybe. But I got a little bit of inspiration from the Magmasaur and its ability to charge up heat and then splay out these like exploding rocks or something. I think that would be really cool for the Thorny Dragon. Now, much like the Poison Wyvern, with being able to target the poison ball, I think you should totally be able to target the little spikes, the little spine things that you shoot out, and does a little bit of torpor, and also increase the amount of torp it does, because being able to knock out creatures with the Thorny Dragon would be really, really good. Less damage, more torpor. Actually, I don't think it does really any damage at all now that I really think about it. But I think if you were to increase the amount of torpor that this thing could actually put out, that would be really good. Less damage, more torp would obviously really, really good. Now, I think another idea you could have is, like I said with the Magmasaur, is if you right click or alt fire, it will charge up the spikes. So you know how when reapers are around a rock drake, the head feathers kind of stand up. So if you were to right click and hold it, excuse me, it goes into this mode where all the little spines that are all over its body will then stand up, right? All these will stand up, and then the Thorny Dragon will kind of put its head down, dig its claws into the floor, and kind of like charge up the spines. And I really just thought of this while I was recording this, but while going back to the previous thing real quick, if you were to stand there and get the target to come up, maybe the end of the tail will stand up like a scorpion, and then it'll like flick. It'll flick in the direction you're pointing. Maybe that'd be something that's kind of cool. But anyways, going back to this charge up ability, it functions essentially like the Magmasaur's charge up and explodey everywhere thing, except it's torpor, and while in this mode, you also get a Kentro knockback effect, because again, you got spikes sticking up all over the creature. So if you were to do that, then you could, while you're in that mode, you'll be protected, and it would, if you were to bite on the Thorny Dragon, you would get hurt yourself. So a lot like the Kentro right now, which, by the way, that's still pretty OP, the fact that you would get hurt by that so much. But that's really all I got for the Thorny Dragon. I think other than scale updates, and which is going to be more or less the same for each of these creatures, I think those couple of things would make the Thorny Dragon really, really tough and really, really a lot more dangerous, because to my knowledge, these things aren't really all that dangerous in the wild. I mean, sure you would want to keep your distance and protect yourself for the poison, the spikes and stuff. But I mean, if you can more accurately aim those spikes, and be able to use the rest of the spikes that are all over the body, I think that would be really, really good, actually. And that's all I really got for the Thorny Dragon. Again, if you guys have any ideas for a TLC ideas, or even new abilities for the Thorny Dragon, do let me know. And of course, we'll have a conversation about it in the comment section below. But without further ado, once again, let's move on to the third and final creature for this video. And here we are with the final creature I have selected for this video, and that is the Mantis. Now, originally the Rock Golem was going to have this third spot, but honestly, the Rock Golem isn't. I'm not sure what you could really do with that thing. Even my ideas were other than just an animation style swap, and that's pretty much it. Maybe it stands up a little bit taller. But the Thorny Dragon, or not the Thorny Dragon, the Mantis, excuse me. A model update of some kind would be really, really good, and maybe it leans more towards the actual praying mantis that it is based on. Because let's be honest, I don't think a mantis ever grew to be this large. If it did, that would be actually scary. I mean, we're talking about 8-legged freaks level of massive. But first and foremost, the Mantis is primarily used as a gathering creature, as I am showing right here on the screen, and which is why the HUD is on and you're able to see all the gathering that I'm doing with it when I got this footage. I believe that this creature should have weight reduction up the wazoo, since it's able to gather up so much. Because as you can see, a couple of swings, and, you know, this thing is encumbered. And also, the level up animation for the Mantis is very, very boring. Sure, the giant crab in Aberration gets to sidestep and all that kind of stuff for its level up animation, but no, the Mantis just does this little jut forward thing. Also, if this thing, I would like it also if the Mantis could sidestep. I think that would be really, really clean, because I mean, all the bugs really should be able to sidestep, if I'm quite honest. So that's like for all the bugs, really. But as far as the Mantis is concerned, I think a controllable jump as well would be really, really good. Like, you're able to aim the jump, much like the Procoptodon got with its TLC, along with the model update. I think that would be really, really good, and also, I'll be putting images on screen for what I think the Mantis could look like, possibly. And also, as you can see with the jump there, showcasing a little bit of that, I think that would be really, really good. But that's all I really have for these creatures. Again, if you have any ideas for the Mantis, do let me know. And if you guys did enjoy this video, do not forget to drop a like and subscribe if you are new. And of course, I'll be seeing you all next time. Have a good one, guys.